Okay, good morning, everybody. It's Paul Harrison here on Wednesday morning at 10:18. I do apologize for a slightly later delay in getting the reviews done for you. I got waylaid at the gym this morning over a few things, but we're here now. We've got this all done. I've had a couple of cups of coffee, so it's going to be a good one. I've got a third cup that's waiting for me, so if you hear some slurping, it's just my coffee. All right. So here we go. The first one we got is Whiskey Foxtrot Romeo. Some downward trend, slightly downward trending resistance line. It did miss a little bit here, but then we have, obviously it's come up there. It's put in, sort of, let's have a look here. It's put in a pretty much a doji. I would, if I was looking to trade this, I certainly would be looking for a stop order to trade that. Obviously you need to do that. My concern is there is a slightly upward trending support line here as well, so your highs are getting slightly higher. Bear that in mind if you were looking to trade that as far as profit taking goes. Then we had Hero and some degree of resistance around about the 530 mark. Thoughts on that? Nothing you haven't seen before. You're going to have to be aware of it. It does get a bit choppy. It's gone up here quite a bit, so that's going to have to come into your equation as far as your stop loss goes as well. Then we have Charlie Romeo Mike, and here we have an upward trend. Well, sorry, a horizontal resistance line. I would not be surprised to see this resistance line broken today. It had a very strong upward day yesterday, so I'd be very surprised to see that resistance line actually hold. So I would probably see that stock actually rallying back up and going back up. Something to be aware of, folks. There is a phenomenon people talk about at the moment. It's called the Santa Rally. I think it's called the Santa Rally, but basically towards the end of the year, you do see a bit of a rally in the markets. Not that I'm going to stray from taking long and short positions. Just something to be aware of. You may see an overall upward trend in the markets, as I think we've seen over the last few days. Then we have GME, Gulf, Mexico, India. Sorry, Echo, and I couldn't see anything to trade here. Again, folks, please, this does take my time to go through these trades. If anything is not ready to trade right now, I really don't want to be seeing it. I couldn't see any reason to trade this stock right now. I don't know if people are looking at upward trending support line or 2-year resistance line, but certainly not. Nothing I would give a second look to there. Then we have TiVo, and some resistance for TiVo around about this mark here. The 1240 mark. Again, it's rallied up quite strongly here. It's put in maybe 1 or 2 down days. I do like to see the stock slowing up a little bit more before it gets to resistance line. But again, the stock does move a little bit. It's a little bit not unpredictable, but a little bit more volatile than maybe what I'm normally looking for. GNPR. Some downward trending resistance here, or resistance around about the $19 mark. 1920 mark. Nothing untoward there, nothing I'll be warning you against or having a look at. It's slowed up a little bit, put in maybe a few more down days in there. You know how to trade those kind of things if it was something you wanted to trade. Then we had TNA. And again, TNA mid-range, I can see an area of resistance around 65. I can see some degree of support around about the $45 mark, but we're mid-range right now. So unless you want to set an alert, I don't expect that to hit there in the next before the weekend anyway. So probably not one to submit for this at this moment. Then we have ATMI, downward trending, sort of late June. Across like that. Okay, so some downward trending resistance. Bada bing, bada boom, bada boom, bada bing. Okay, you got those bounces there. The lows are getting slightly low, which I do like. A gap to the upside, I'm guessing that was around announcement time. It has come down back to that support line again. It's put in a few days of resistance there. So yeah, just actually zooming in here. Let me show you something here. If I was looking at trading this stock, and again, this is why I do the videos, because you guys submit the actual the stocks for us to review. So this is your additional benefit here. Having a look at this stock, I don't believe it's rallied. It's sold off enough from that resistance line. So using a stop order, normally you would just take this point here, okay? But I'm thinking because basically the stock hasn't sold off enough from the resistance line, I'm still counting this as part of the bounce. So if I was going to trade this, I would still use a stop order, but I'm going to have my stop loss 1% above here. So because I'm still feeling that's the high of the range, therefore my stop losses have to be 1% above that. Because I just don't think it's sold off enough from the resistance line. If it had come down a little bit more to maybe around about the $19 mark and then come back up, then sure, then it's a different conversation. But I just don't think it's moved enough from that resistance line to warrant using it. Then we had DSW, and DSW again. I felt this is mid-range. You know, there's some upward trending resistance, but we're not going to trade a short position off an upward trending resistance because we always go with the trend. There's some upward trending support as well, but it's mid-range, so not something I would expect to see on this list. Then we have GFF. Some resistance around about the 1120 mark, something like that. Not quite hit there yet. It's come up quite nicely, but it hasn't come up overly aggressively. It certainly did to begin with, but you can see it's quietened down a little bit here, and looks to have I guess a reasonable range on it. But you're going to have to use these as your stop loss as well, because that's the high of the range. So that's GFF. Then we have DWA. Some area of support around about the 1650 mark. There is some tighter support around about the $17 mark. But again, I only see two bounces here. I see one bounce there. Maybe we could qualify that as a bounce. And then it's certainly sitting on that support line there now. Again, a little bit of gapping down. And, you know, that's maybe why it's broken this inner support, because of that slight gap. We can see a consolidation, and then a lot of time it sells back off. I tell you what, this gapping thing, I might actually see if I can write a strategy to trade that gap. That might be quite interesting. Then we have FFBC, and what we have here is a downward trending support mid-December, early June, mid-November. Okay, so downward trending support. Again, this is not something we're going to trade because this is downward trending support. We want to go with the trend, so please assess that when you're looking at stocks to submit here. Then we have Saba, and again, this has been hovering around the support line. This is the kind of stock, if you got into this trade, it's highly frustrating. It really is, because you got your bounces, you got a nice clear line of support. I know this was the first stock that came up a lot of the time when we were looking at the stocks I was trading, and well, not the stocks I was trading, but when we were having a look at my you know, when you came onto the webinars, it was always Saba was up first. But this kind of stock can be really frustrating because it's obviously it's sold off aggressively. In 2 days, it covered a huge amount of ground, consolidated or bounced, consolidated, and really, you know, if you got into this trade, you've been in there for about a month now, and it can be frustrating. But you know, it's not something to be hurrying. I know there are a lot of people who say, listen, I'm in the trade, I'm marginally in profit, should I take my profit because it's not doing anything? The stock will move somewhere along the line. You've accepted the risk, so keep the trade unless you can actually see a reason why you want to get into it. Then we have Apple. Again, Apple has come down to some line of support around about the 525 mark. Maybe bounced a little bit off there at the moment. Again, I know Apple is in the public eye, people want to see it, so that's normally stocks I stay away from, because it's very well known, and you know, I like to go sort of where people don't know a lot of stuff. So what we're going here is 34.20, some area of resistance. Again, a very big up day yesterday. I would be surprised to see this resistance line actually hold, but time will tell, I guess. Then we have GPOR. Yeah, just another little gem, folks, is right now I'm sure you're seeing here with the horizontal Buffalo stocks, you're seeing a lot of stocks coming up to resistance, because obviously the market has been rallying over the last few weeks in the overall view. Upward trending stocks can, you know, not upward trending stocks, but stocks coming off support lines on horizontal stocks can be very difficult to find. The answer to that, or the alternative to that is you can look for those upward trending support lines. Okay, so stocks that are actually moving up, because it's critical to have a balanced portfolio here. It really, really is. I'm seeing that more and more with people. Mistakes people are making is they're overcompensating in one particular area, except that we never ever know what the market is going to do. Therefore, we we always want to be hedging our positions. And yes, we will take some losses because the market will move against us, but also the other side is that it's important to obviously have that hedge. Now, this again, I don't know why the stock is in here. We've got the resistance line at around about the $38 mark, 38.10, but we've only got the two bounces here. There's an upward trending support line, but it's nowhere near that unless you're looking at a 2-year time frame, which you might be. Yep. Okay. All right. So you're looking at a 2-year time frame. That's got a huge range on it, but you're gonna. I mean, look at how long it's taken. If you're happy to trade this, you're looking at something like a 2-month time frame between going from the highest point to the lowest point, except for here we're in a gap down. But over 2 years, if you're going to hold that position for, I guess, August, September, October, November, that's like 3 months holding that position. It took. Stocks come down a lot quicker, February to mid-May to hold that position. I don't know how many people want to hold those kind of positions for that amount of time. That is really why I'm always only looking at the 1-year time frame. Okay, so that's GPOR. Then we have Dow. Downward trending resistance line. We have here. No problems with that. The lows are getting lower as well, which is quite nice. So you've got your downward trending support line there, and yeah, a little bit of an update there. I would rather have seen a smaller day, but look at what the stock's done before. So here it put in a shooting star. Here there wasn't any indication, just changed direction again, and we never know what the stock's going to do. We only know what it's done before, so take that into account. Then we have ASA. Some support around about the 2120 mark. It's been quite high up to 25 late September. So yep, nothing you haven't seen there before. And there goes my phone. Apologies for that. Then we have RS. Romeo Sierra was just an alert that came up. I placed it there. There is a resistance line just above the $57 mark, $57.50. There is also an upward trending support that runs along here. Okay, so you got that. You would be taking that into account when you're looking for your profit share, your profit target, but it's actually broken above that. So, sorry, it hasn't broken above that. It's put in a big update there that. Again, be interesting to see if that actual resistance line holds. You may be moving that resistance line up a little bit higher. May make a little bit more sense. Around about the $58.26 mark. That's RS. Then we have Yum. Now this is an interesting one, and thank you to whoever put this through, because this is going to be some great learning here. Now, you've heard me talking about gapping a lot of the time. Okay, gapping traditionally is just something that happens a lot on the horizontal stocks. That's where I'm seeing it most of the time. But what basically we see the gap and then it hits the support line. The buying comes in because it's clearly defined, and there's a little bit of consolidation. Normally you find a break off to the bottom side there. But what's going to be interesting with this one is this has got the same kind of personality as what we're normally looking for with the horizontal. Something that we're aware of there, that there is the gap. Now, I would be very hesitant to trade this stock right now because obviously there is that gap, and it'll be interesting to see if there's a sell-off on the bottom side. So, again, the stock does have a personality of gapping from time to time as well, and it's certainly a lot more than what it was doing prior to June. So I don't know what happened prior to June, but it's become a little bit crazy from here. So it would be a little bit of a warning for me to stay away from that stock as far as that upward trending support line goes. Okay, then we have again an upward trending support line here with AT&T. It's bobbled around there for a little bit now. A little bit of a sell-off here. Nothing you haven't seen before. Nothing untoward. AT&T, SYK. SYK, some area of resistance around about the 55.80 mark. Slightly upward trending support line. Be aware of that when it comes to taking profits as well, if you were to trade it. Then we have MIL. And we have some support around about the $4 mark. Got a little bit scrappy underneath here. Maybe put in one day that would cancel that trade, but it is a little bit of a scrappy stock as well. ACXM. Okay, again an upward trending support line. Notice this, folks, how the stock that is upward trending, the stocks that are upward trending, you know, this might be the hedging thing, the hedging situation you need for to hedge off against all the short positions we have. Because when you have a lot of stocks that are hitting resistance on the horizontal stocks, you can, you know, there's obviously short positions there that are available, but then you can obviously be looking for upward trending support lines. But use those stop orders when you're trading upward trending stocks. Okay. Then we have VMW. VMW, a downward trending resistance line around about there. And just something I just had a thought now. If you are trading upward trending support lines, so upward trending Buffalo stocks and horizontal Buffalo stocks going short, because if this whole Santa rally is going to come to fruition this year, look to be using stop orders more with the short positions. You don't normally want to be getting in with a limit order on a short position if you think there's a potential for it to go up. Okay, so it's just going to give you a little bit more protection there if you're looking for short positions of horizontal stocks. Obviously, something like this is a downward trending resistance line. Therefore, you would actually have to be using a stop order to get into the trade anyway. Then we have cause. Okay, and an upward trending support line there as well. Nothing you haven't seen before. It's gapped up there, which I kind of like. So that was a few months ago, but still there's that was around about the $46 mark. It's currently sitting at $50. So there still was some upward. It was still relatively cheap around that area, and it's gapped up. Therefore, the guys got into the trade, and it's moved north. Then we have COG, Charlie Oscar Golf, and an upward trending support line, and an upward trending resistance line as well. With upward trending support lines, be very aware of where the upward trending resistance line is as well, because that's going to have an impact obviously on your trades moving forward. Then we have Kona. For some reason this always reminds me of Hawaii. Kona Grill. There we go. Sounds like I can get some good Hawaiian pizza there. Okay, so we got an upward trending support line as well. There's some resistance around about the $92 mark, $9.30 mark. Upward trending support line. It's come down, put in a down doji, then it's put an up doji there as well. Textbook entry point for an upward trending support line. You're looking for a break above the high to get into the trade. Clear zoom, just to be aware that there is that resistance between 9 and 950 as well if you did want to take that trade. Yes. Upward trending support line early August, middle October, so some kind of upward trending support line there. Obviously there's been some resistance around about that mark there at the moment. So with that kind of entry point we look at the moment, I wouldn't be overly excited. Should have come back down to that support line, and obviously using a stop order to get in. But I wouldn't be surprised to see it actually break that resistance line, because you're going to get break the support line, because you generally going to get a breakout one way or the other there. Then we have USB, upward trending support line. So bounce, 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 a little bit of a downward trending resistance line, but nothing you haven't seen there before. Probably not tradable right now. I'd want it to come down to that support line a little bit more now. Was that? That was USB, wasn't it? Okay, then we had Sierra Hotel Whiskey. Again, another upward trending support line. I probably wanted to come back down a little bit more onto that support line before taking an entry point, but I do like how the highs are getting higher there as well. So entry, entry, entry. Then we have JAR. Upward trending support line. If there was anything I was going to flag here, it would be that the highs are getting slightly lower. But remember as well, folks, that these upward trending support lines, you're going to be generally in for a slightly longer amount of time. Because if this trend continues as it has done for the rest of the year, you know, it's gone from 30 to 55, you could be holding that position for a long time. There's no rock solid support resistance, and the upward trending support is obviously there. JAR, then we have MBR. MBR. Yeah, I saw some downward trend resistance line here. Something like, maybe even you could have that. Yeah, I guess you could say let's consolidate a little bit here. Look how it's put in all this this indecision here. So again, if you were looking to trade that, you've got to be looking at a stop order. Clear zoom. ABFS. Downward trending resistance line. There we go, all the way from there. So late January, mid-April, we had a touch here as well, late July, and current as well. I do like the lows are getting lower. And it's put a little bit of a down day there as well. So no major issues there, nothing that you haven't dealt with before. ABFS. Okay, AV. You'll notice I've dropped the frenetic alphabet here. Again, this was like the one I pointed out a little bit earlier. We've got a downward trending resistance line there that I hope everybody can see. This, it's going to be interesting because it's rallied up. It's put a little bit of an indecision there. Then there's been about 3 or 4 days of sort of indecision. Be interesting to see if this actually holds true with the downward trending resistance lines as well. Again, your lows are getting lower, so that's not a bad thing. Then we have IRF. Now I know a lot of people have been trading this stock, and I know a lot of people have been burnt by it. Okay, I don't know quite what's going on here, but again, if you were to trade the stock, you've got to be looking at a stop order, because a lot of people got in around about this area, and it rallied back up, and that looks like it's going to continue rallying there. So if you were to trade it, I'd want to be seeing it putting in a doji or two over the next couple of days, and then obviously you've got to use a stop order as well. Then we have Dell. Who would have thought years ago that we would have been looking at a potential short on Dell? Whew. Okay, so we've got the downward trending resistance line here. It has gapped down previously. Check how that happened. That was sort of mid-range as well, though. So you know, just of interest. It's put in basically that's a textbook doji. You see how it's come up. It's gapped a little bit here, but a down day, then another down day. Then very small indecisions here, and it's put in sort of that textbook position there as well. You're going to have to use a stop order if you were to trade that. Then we have APD. Downward trending resistance line. There we go. It's rallied up. Put in again a textbook doji. It's been a little bit. There was a little bit leery there. Then it pulled itself in a little bit, and then it's up there for the as a sort of a slightly downward trending resistance line. Sorry, a slightly downward doji. What am I talking about? That's what we call a shooting star. Because shooting stars always shoot to the ground. But again, I would want to be using a stop order if I was going to trade that. Then we have RPXC. You can tell I'm in demand today, can't you? My PA's not even in here today. So here we go. We have a downward trending resistance line early May. Then we have early November, and we've probably just missed that by a day or two. So it's actually sold off there as well. Then we have X. Some horizontal resistance here. Okay, 2240, some kind of resistance there. Then we have Farm. Just to be aware of this, there is an upward trending support line as well here, so there might be a little bit of a change of personality there. Then we have Farm. We have resistance around about the $12 mark. With this kind of stock, it's going to be absolutely key to get your entry point right. It's put in some very big bars there, particularly if you're looking to use a stop order. Having a look at what it's done before, that is, you couldn't hope for a better entry point than that right there. You see how it's put in that doji and it's give you a nice tight little entry point. Same thing there. We haven't seen it with the most recent bounce though. If I'd seen those around here, I'd be all over it. But because we haven't, yeah, it doesn't make sense to get into that from a risk reward ratio point of view at the moment. BMO, some resistance around about the $60 mark. It's been down to 57.50. There has been a pretty reasonable area of support around about the 57.50 mark, and yeah, but should it break that, then you're on for some bigger returns around 52. But yeah, not much more to add to that one really. Then we have JBSS, and we have the resistance line at circa, what number is that? Circa 1920. Should come back up there. If it gets up there, then potentially looking for a trade. Internal support, probably around the $19 mark. So it's a pretty decent ratio. It has been upward trending, but I think certainly a little bit of a personality change over the last 6 months. Then we have DFE. And some resistance around about the $39 mark. $39. What I don't like about this stock, though, folks, is it's gapping. It's gapping like a maniac here. And I would have nothing to do with a stock with gaps like this. Just because, you don't... It's like dealing with stocks, again, it's like dealing with people. If you're dealing with something with an irrational personality, you don't want to be dealing with it. And this is gapping all over the place. Yes, there is area of resistance around about the $39 mark. But quite frankly, I'm not interested in people or stocks that are largely unpredictable and and won't allow. Might sound bad. You got to be able to get into them at the right area, if that makes sense. And this is not giving you any right area to get into. Plus, it could move and it could take your entry point with you as well. Then we have UNT. And UNT, we have some resistance around about the $45 mark. There you go, but only 2 bounces really. Yeah, not overly excited by that because it's only 2 bounces. And then we have AVT, finally AVT, and AVT, some degree of downward trending resistance line around about that area there. Okay, so downward trending resistance. You would obviously have to use a stop order, but yeah, there's some support around about that area there. Be interesting to see. Your downward trending resistance line is obviously a longer term resistance line than the support line's going to be, but I would expect some kind of movement when it came down to the $29 mark, $29.80. So something to be aware of there. But folks, I hope that's been helpful. That is the wrap for what we have. Please, folks, I'm going to ask you about this. Please don't include stocks that are mid-range. I'm not ready to trade right now, okay? Because it does take me time. There's a lot of this time that I'm doing this that I'm not invoicing Investment Mastery for. So this is my own time I'm taking from other businesses as well. Please only put stocks that are ready to go right now. or in the next couple of days, and we can make the most of our time together. So thank you very much. Have a fantastic week's trading. I will speak to you again Friday morning, and all the best. Peace. Bye bye.